welcome back to the Circle of Jerks, sponsored by Team America, where we get the majority of our inspiration and quotes. We'll probably try to keep them to a minimum during the actual podcast, although, we've been drinking, so you never quite know. You've got the Bob Hartman here around the circle. We've got Kurt Brownell with the double pop. We've got Raging Monet, the Jer Bear. We've got John Ramsey, Ramrod. Say it. Go ahead and say it. And we've got Kenton Zoede with a Z. In case the S got turned backward. So you're listening to the Week 7 preview edition. We are 60% through the season. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like the season just started yesterday. And here we are about to preview Week 7, which is late in the season. The playoff picture is starting to unfold a little bit. It's a really tight race. I mean, seeds 1 through 6 right now are separated by only 2 games, only 4 points. Right now, Wu-Tang Clan still holds on to the top spot. They're tied in points with a Tribe Called Quest, but they have the head-to-head winner right now over a Tribe Called Quest. I believe the rematch is Week 10 between those two teams, so that could be a pretty exciting end of the season. And as I said, a Tribe Called Quest holds the 2 spot right now. NWA only 1 point behind, 9 points in the third spot. Public Enemy in the big resurgence, 5 points in 3 weeks. They have 7 points total in the 4th spot. Furious 5 and the Roots are tied at 6 points each. Furious 5 beat the Roots a couple weeks ago, so they currently hold the 5th. The Roots the 6th. Run DMC has the 7th with 2 points, and Sugar Hill Gang. Obviously I could take a cheap and easy shot here, but I, in all sincerity, think they could be the most dangerous 8 seed to ever enter the playoffs in the history of the YMCA. But we can get more of that in a minute. These games this week, when I was trying to preview them, I don't know what you guys thought, trying to pick the games and everything, but I honestly went back and forth and thought any one of these 4 games could be my game of the week. I think this is an exciting week for me. Like I don't think I've been more excited this season about all 4 games because they all have their storylines. They all have a lot of excitement around it. Did anyone else have an issue with picking the game of the week, or
I had many issues. Yes.
Well, okay, so Kurt's got issues, but
in the games, yeah, they were tough.
That's exactly what I thought. Every single matchup is intriguing. There's top scorers versus top scorers in every matchup. There's good team offense versus team defense. There's good storylines in every single game. I'm going to be a bit of a homer here, not looking at the stats, but my game of the week is the Roots versus Wu-Tang. I feel like the Wu-Tang, after coming off the upset loss, they're going to be as hungry as ever. I'm sure, Bob, you'll probably score 8 goals on me, and then rub in my face a little bit.
Well, you're not Conco.
But we're also looking to get back in the win column. We'll have the combo of Puppy Andy, Monkey Ian baby back, so we should have our
yeah. I'm not sure that one's gonna stick. That nickname.
Whatever.
I mean, it was valiant effort. I don't think it's gonna stick.
Hit or miss. I threw it out there twice. We'll see if it sticks.
We probably would have gone in the back of the net twice too. I am such a terrible person.
In the words of John Chatterton, it's floating around there, but it's a turd.
Well, yeah, I mean, Kenton, you're right. I mean, the 7:30 game has a team coming off their first loss of the season against a team that's getting Andy back and playing as a full team probably. The 6:30 game has a 3-game win streak team against a team that's gotten 5 points in 3 games. The 8:30 game's got 2 teams that are both on 2-game winning streaks, and they're only separated by 1 point at the very top of the standings. And the 9:30 game has a team with a 5-game losing streak versus a team with a 6-game losing streak. But these 2 teams are dangerous. I'm not saying that like tongue in cheek.
I'm thinking it's amazing how evenly matched it is.
They all have huge implications. They all have a ton of pride. And without further ado, Jer Bear Bonet, if you want to bring us into the schedule.
Looking at the schedule, week 6, we have the 6:30 matchup, the Furious 5 in white versus the Pubic Enema in Carolina blue. 7:30, we got the Wu-Tang Clan in white against the Roots in forest green. 8:30, NWA in white versus a Tribe Called Quest in royal blue. And 9:30 Sugar Hill Gang in white versus Run DMC in gold.
Yeah, and so quick update on the picks here. So Ramsey and Kenton are our guest pickers. They will pick the games, but for the 6 of us that are keeping score all season long, last week Pete Tar, the Bob, and Cannonball Kurt went 3 for 4. Conco sucks went 2 for 4. John Chattergoon went 1 for 4. And the Bonet blanked, as we talked about a little bit in the recap edition, is his second time going over. Overall, on the season, the Bob, myself, yours truly, is 16 for 20 at 80%, leading the pack. In second place is Pitar and Cannonball Kurt, 13 for 20 at 65%. At third is #Conco Sucks with the coin flip, 10 for 20 at 50%. Chattergoon missed 4 games, so he's 7 for 16, but still at 44%. And you like it when Jeremy doesn't pick your team at 6 and 20 for 30%.
So if you're wearing white this week, I apologize.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Oh.
The away teams have better be nervous. So let's jump into the 6:30 game then, unless anyone had any other overall thoughts. Kurt's thought is coughing.
Yeah, sorry.
Do we have any sort of deep analysis on home versus away losses this year?
Not yet.
No,
Working on
the home crowd advantage has got to be a thing.
I will say, I think with home and away, I think the home team should get to pick their end. I think that would be a
That
fun.
was the
Is that
thought
not
I
a
had 2 weeks ago,
No,
because I
we
really
haven't
wanted
been
to
doing
do
that.
that.
Is it just kind of whoever gets down there first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to lick the net first.
That being
I
said,
think so.
is there an advantage to being on one side or the other?
I personally
from a
think
goalie's
so.
perspective.
I personally think so. I think you want to be, as a goalie, you want to defend the side that the stairs are on, because that door in the
Rams
back.
is giving away a secret.
That's
or
fine.
it's reverse psychology.
Maybe
No,
they-
I agree with Ramsey. I mean, whenever I get the choice, I pick that side for the first and third, and I will, chop a
Why is
goalie in their
the-
knee if they let me.
The only rebuttal I'll have for that is sometimes at the 6:30 game, if your back is to the track door, you get the glare from the sun coming into the window. That kind of messes you up a little bit.
As a goalie, you would know that?
As a shooter.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
I see.
Yeah. So anyways, my reasoning on that is that the door sticks out sometimes behind the net, and so it's harder for on offense if someone tries to go behind the net on you, because sometimes it gets caught in there, and you tend to get better bounces off the brick wall, so you want to attack that way twice.
I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I do have a follow-up question to that. Were you in the league, Ramsey, when we had the wall?
I was not. That was before me.
That
So 4 of us at this table were there when the wall was there, and there really was a true difference. Not to say that there isn't now, because I think that makes sense, and the glare is a factor, especially with the days getting longer here. But there was a wall, for those of you that weren't in the league at the time, that was like how would you describe it? It was almost like a presentation, like a trifold presentation thing that you would do like your science fair experiment on, and it was directly behind a net. So you could shoot it, and it would just rattle around this thing and just pop out to either side of it. As a goalie, I still have nightmares about
Just
it.
from a size-wise, the rock wall, you would have to take away about a third of the gym from the edges of the rock wall. And then to the
Because
right,
storage was behind it.
Yeah.
and then to the right or the left of the rock wall, there was a tree house for kids,
That's right.
and that came out about a quarter of the way.
Yeah.
So you just size.
Oh,
And we used to have, and we used to
Yeah.
set mats up by the fire
Yeah.
escape. So like, essentially, you had a funnel happening down there.
Yeah, it was like
right?
L-shaped.
Yeah.
So it took as a goalie, it took away like an entire corner of the.
Yeah, you lost about
That's
a
where I
quarter of
started
the gym
playing as a
inside.
goalie.
Yeah.
And it was miserable guarding that side of the floor because you never knew which way. Like,
Not
you
to
think
mention-
Australia is a problem now when you shoot up into the countries there, or the continents.
I thought that was
Australia
a risk.
is a country,
I
so
thought
it's
that was a
okay.
risk
But-
analogy there.
Yeah, but you think that that's an issue now? You imagine just shooting out this rock. It was terrible. It was so
Not to
terrible.
mention, like, if you think that pucks bouncing off the wall and going in off a goalie's back were bad now,
Oh my god.
like just the angles that the pucks would come off of this wall.
And you never knew which way. That
No.
was the problem. It was like
Because
every
not
time
only
you
was
hit,
it
like
not
South
only-
America or whatever, it's like you never know which way it's gonna bounce. It would because not only the funnel, but yeah, you got the
There was rocks. There's a rock wall.
Yeah,
Well,
Rocks
and,
had the
and,
little
and
nubbins.
pre-ref, we didn't have calls to go with anything we hit a backboard.
Right.
So I mean, there were a lot of
It
them
was
dropping
freezing,
down from
that's
above.
it.
You know.
Yeah.
It was pandemonium.
It
Anyway, back when I used to play hockey, we used to walk uphill to the YMCA.
It's your old time hockey.
Both ways, whole time hockey. We'd get nutty with the best of them. So Furious 5 at Public Enemy. I'll start with this one because this is my game of the week. I think this all comes down to Public Enemy's defense. I think they got to keep it low scoring. They got to keep Furious 5 in check. Gaffey's going to be back as far as I know. As far as I know, everyone's going to be at full strength this week, and I think that the Public Enemy's defense, I think, is strong enough, top to bottom, to keep it relatively low scoring. I think Enright and Tim Anderson just play just amazing defense. Lally can pester people. Galuli is so smart, and he makes the right choice at the right time. And I think that Bill is strong in net, and he's not going to allow a lot of cheap goals. On the flip side, Furious 5's won 3 straight. They're getting Gaffey back. Tim Scott, we just sang his praises in the last podcast. He's not going to be letting in cheap goals either. But I think that Public Enemy that the defense and maybe Furious 5 could possibly run into some chemistry issues with Gaffey back. I mean, the chemistry looked good last week. I mean, not great because it was just kind of a grinding game. Like, it's not like they were high flying or showing a lot of like offensive prowess. But is it possible that there's subtraction by addition here by adding a new component they haven't been used to playing with?
I think they played better 2 weeks ago against, I believe it was us. I think I bring out the best in another team. I mean, when Jackie was playing with them 2 weeks ago, the score may have been close, but it felt like we were dominated. So I think with Gaffey back, they're definitely a better team.
I mean, that's what the logic would say. Maybe I'm just wrong, but I wonder if they found something that works without him now.
And if so, that's
I don't know. I was back and forth on this. I had it as my game of the week originally. I had both teams picked at one point or another. I'm going with a lot of tenacity into Public Enemy because you're right. To what you said, Bob, I think the defensive firepower of Public Enemy is gonna hopefully hold off. Air Canada. Jesse's shown a bit of a resurgence, and I mean, like you said, Gaffey's that big question mark. But boy, I picked them, losing last week without Gaffey, and I got egg on my face on that one. So I'm going with Public Enemy, and there's a big question mark in my mind. I don't know. I feel like it's a 50-50 shot on this one. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's why it's my game of the week because I feel the least confident about this pick. But the other, not to get too meta on you, but every time I've picked Public Enemy to win, they've won. But every time the majority of us pick against Furious 5, they win. And so far, the two of us have picked Public Enemy. So maybe that's just going to shoot ourselves in the foot because Furious 5 is going to
We have a lot of shooting the foot references in this.
I'm actually going with Furious 5 this week.
Well, there we go.
So
Public Enemy's winning.
I feel that looking at a lot of the ways that the Public Enemy's goals come, they're on that initial long shot from around mid-court is where they're getting a lot of their goals. And Tim Scott being the best goalie in the league with cutting down angles, I feel like that stifles that shot. Furious 5 is coming off of a huge win, getting Gaffey back. He had 5 goals in the last game that he played. On top of the fact that, you start to see Jesse and Paul mesh a little bit better. I feel like they continue the momentum from last week's win and they take this game as well.
And I definitely agree that I think that Enright and Anderson are going to be really frustrated by Tim shutting down those angles and taking away those long shots because the two of them thrive on it. What I think Public Enemy has that Wu-Tang Clan didn't are cleanup guys. Wu-Tang Clan does not do well on cleanup goals. We kept talking about it in between every period, like, what are we doing wrong? Why are we positioning wrong? We need to stop firing on Tim and just going for cleanup goals so we're not good at it. But you look at Chris Lally, Matt Lilly, and Shane Humphrey, those guys can all.
That's right. That's
I mean, to that though, I feel like when you're coming in against a goalie like Tim Scott, your game plan is automatically going to be, we need to pass across and score on a one-timer goal across. And Paul is one of the best players in the league with taking a cross pass and taking it the other way. So I feel like that also plays a big part of it.
Oh, and that's what led to our demise, is he kept taking away that cross pass. I mean, definitely if Paul can be underrated at anything, it's probably in defense and taking away those cross passes. Great point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against Paul and his beard and go for Public Enemy. Listen, I love Paul. Paul's great. I had to throw in a crack about his beard. So Paul, while you're listening on your drive, I think you're gonna lose. But I don't know. I think Chris and Tim. I think they seem to pass really well. Tim, he's underrated. I think offensively. I think he's a great defensive player. But when he needs to, he can really carry the puck up, and he's got this new aggressive physical side to him, and I just think they're a good matchup.
The mean streak.
Yeah, the mean streak going against Furious 5. So I'm gonna go Public Enemy.
Well, I'm hoping to, just like I do all the top scorers on every team I face, I'm hoping to improve Jeremy's picks and pick Furious 5 as well. I think with Gaffey back, they're basically, they're going to win. Pubic Enema.
Sound logic.
There's two choices. Either they win or they lose.
50-50.
More logic. Well, not if you drink. 30-70.
Public Enemy, they played great. Obviously, they killed us, just a scant 24 hours ago. But I think Furious 5 takes us because with Gaffey back, they're able to spread the floor and pace the game more and play the way they want to. They can obviously play that grinding game and get in your face and lock you down like they did against Chatterton and Joe last week. But I think this week they break out more offensively.
The physicality is going to be a little bit of a wild card here because Public Enemy, Tim Anderson, Chris Enright, they can get physical. Lally can too. But actually, all of them can. This is going to be a direct.
Well,
knock
some
down,
guys, they don't
knock
need to
out
get
play.
physical. They just don't need to move out of your way. You get Matt and Shane in there. They're
It's
there.
gonna be
Let's
fun.
look at Furious 5. Gaffey, Pete Skidmore, Brad Burr.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, by the way, big ups to Brad Burr's yelling at the end of the game last night.
Oh my God.
I mean, I just wanted that to happen.
we made so many comments upstairs.
They were passionate. They
Yeah.
played physical, and honestly, that's why I made the Motrin back in the last podcast. I'm hurting today, and for a guy like me that plays physical and probably relatively dirty and maybe against the rules, it says a lot if the other team out physicals me. Did we get everyone's picks? So
Taco proxy picks.
yeah, Pitar picked Furious 5, and Conco has a short write-up here. Public Enemy beats Furious 5. Tim, Chris, and Matt Gilroy solved the great mystery of Tim's couch cushions. Bills step up against Air Canada. So that's his unedited.
Is that written in Polish?
Sick.
It's
It
written in
sounds-
Concoese. There's
Yeah,
a
bracket
logic
set
jump
and
you have to
bracket.
make when you're reading.
Yeah, there you go. All right, 7:30, Wu-Tang Clan at the Roots. Let's have someone not in the game start us out. So, Kurt, Jerbear, or Ramsey.
I'm gonna go with Wu-Tang on this one. I feel like they're coming off of a.
Darn it, Jeremy!
Yeah,
thanks,
You should have known that you're wearing white this week. You should have known by the fact that you're wearing white. Wu-Tang, I feel like they're coming off of a wake-up call with that loss. They got it out of the way. I told them, no undefeated team has ever won the championship, so it's probably good to get it out of the way. But I feel like it's definitely a wake-up call. I feel like being a defensive team that they are, they definitely need to step up defensively. There's a couple guys, or a couple times where you see the team where this guy's out of position, and I feel like this is a good game for them to kind of hone and dial that back in against the Roots. Offensively, I don't see them having as hard of a time against Kenton as they did against Tim. No offense to Kenton, but
I'm habit size.
well, not only that, but your team doesn't help you much. So hopefully, like I said, I like to motivate people with my picks. Hopefully,
No motivation needed.
hopefully they listen to this and step
Don't
it up
motivate the
defensively.
Roots.
But yeah, I'm going with Wu.
Ramsey,
I'm gonna go with the Roots.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks, John.
I think you're welcome, Ken.
Oh,
I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game, actually. I think both teams are at full strength. Is that correct?
As far as we know.
Everyone should be there. I don't know. Wu-Tang. Listen, I know Wu-Tang's 5-1, but
they have some close games.
I'm not totally sold on Wu-Tang. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but they've won some squeakers, and I like the Roots. Pitar and Austin and Andy. That I think we might see 13, 14 goals. this week. I'm going out there and saying they're gonna put up some numbers.
Yeah, makes sense. Kurt?
You make a lot of sense, Ramsey. I agree with what you say, but I'm still gotta go with Wu-Tang.
That was very Canadian of you.
Yeah, no, I try to be a little bit of a diplomat here. I feel like Wu-Tang knows that they don't have it completely figured out. But I also see it's not going to be often that you see John Chattergoon getting blanked. And I know Bob and Steve are solid guys to clean up and also play awesome defense. And I think I think there'll be a match for Peter and Austin. Andy's kind of the wild card in the mix. I mean, he's played twice this season. You know, he scored a lot of points both times, so I think it'll be a high-scoring game as well. You got a lot of shooters on both of these teams, but I still got to go with Wu-Tang for the win.
Yeah, I actually had to double-check that stat. I have 2 games played by Andy Goggin.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, I think there's definitely gonna be a penalty in this game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Ian
Kenton
plus
tries
minus
to play
2.5.
Alex.
Oh,
Kenton's
that's a
trying
good
to
one.
play Alex, yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
So Kenton, what do you? I'll let you go first here.
I think Ian's going to hit Dan Gladdy with a same team. It's going to be unique.
And is Ian gonna flop afterward?
I think there's no way there's less than 20 goals in this game. More likely 30.
Wow. Coming from the
Are you talking about cumulative or against you?
I was waiting for it. I knew that was coming, Jeremy.
I'd set myself up. I mean, honestly, the games we win are the ones where we play all-out offense. When we have Andy back, we're playing much more forward style, where we play, triangle with Andy, the point being up and 2 guys back. And I think that works better for our team, when we play all-out offense. And against a team like Wu-Tang, we have to be all-out offensive. Number one, because I'm going to give up 8 or 9 crappy goals. And number 2, because, when Pete and Austin are scoring, when we get the whole team going, I think we play well. Especially if we get a contribution from the whole team, we can put up goals. I think before this past week, I'm not sure what this past week, but as of the first 5 weeks, we had the highest goals in the league. But through the first 5 weeks, Pete had 9, 6, 10, 9, and 8 points per week, and then he was held to just 4 this last week. And Austin broke out for 8 and 2, but Pete being down that way was a huge reason why offensively we didn't cut it. Conversely, against Wu-Tang, both John and Joe are going to be looking to break out. Joe had 10, 10, 8, 5, and 9 points in the first 5 weeks, and then he was held to 4, and John was blanked. They're going to be chomping at the bit offensively. So I think definitely the game's going to be, a 2019 game. I think I've had a couple of games where I've let in 19 goals. I won't be one to tell you that I'm going to let in less than 19 goals against Wu-Tang. I think the only way we win is if we score a lot of goals, and I don't see it going any other way.
Do you think you win?
I do think we win.
So Kenton's picking the
Yes, I do think we win, just because I have to.
And I, Ken, you got me thinking about something that Bob said in a previous podcast about the Roots not really running that well. And I think he's mostly operating off of Peter's, assertion that he doesn't run, which he does run. We know that. But everyone else on that team runs. Yeah. I mean, you get Andy back, Dan, Ian, Austin, they all will run back and forth. They'll go coast to coast, and I see them having a lot. I see them having a lot of hustle. I think it's like you said, it's going to be a high-scoring game. So there's going to be lots of shots coming from right up close to the goal.
I'm going to disagree slightly. I'm going to pick Wu-Tang. So I'll get that out there right off the bat. I think it could be high-scoring. And if it is high-scoring, I think the Roots win. but I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I think it's moderate high scoring. I mean, let's be relative here. Maybe like 14 to 12 or 14 to 10. I think is like moderate high scoring. I don't think it's 20 to 19. If it's 20 to 19, I think the Roots win because they play a running gun style, and Wu-Tang cannot keep up with a running gun style. Joe is a huge scorer, but he can't carry the team alone, and if we're running and gunning, then John, Steve, Kyle, and myself aren't going to collect the rest of the goals. The reason this game is intriguing to me, other than the fact that I'm playing in it, is it's just two very, very different styles. You've got a running gun style with the Roots, and then you got more of like a defensive, puck control, tempo type style of Wu-Tang. And whoever style wins, I think, wins the game. Just a couple of stats for you guys. Wu-Tang Clan has allowed the second fewest shots on goal. Second only by 2 shots on goal to a tribe called Quest. Wu-Tang Clan has allowed the fewest assisted goals. Alex is in the top half of save percentage, 4th, and goals against average, 2nd. The Roots have so that's the Wu-Tang side. On the flip side, the Roots have the second most shots on goal, second only to Public Enemy, and the most goals for with 85. The Roots score on average 14.2 goals per game, but Wu-Tang Clan allows only on average 9.2 goals per game. The Wu-Tang Clan on the flip side only scores 11.2 goals per game, and the Roots allow 13.7 goals per game. They're just, all that to say, they're very, very, very different styles. Whatever style wins the game, and I think Wu-Tang Clan style wins. I think Joe, John, Kyle, Steve, they're able to get some goals on Kenton. We control the tempo. We keep Pete and Austin off their game, and I think that's the difference.
That was impressive stat crunching right there. That was neat. Like, I made my pick in the high scoring based on just a gut assumption. Like, you actually backed yours up with shit. That's awesome.
It's not the same backing up in the sense that it could go the other way. Yeah. Like, the Roots score way more than what we allow. So if the Roots if that's all of those stats were just to support the idea that if it gets run and gun, if it gets high scoring, then we lose. Wu-Tang loses.
I just love seeing the way your mind works.
I'm equating that.
You're the only one.
I'm equating that rattling off of stats like Eminem's 40 seconds in Rap God, where he's just going berserk.
Berserk, huh?
Yeah.
Real quick. You know who's got a sneaky good shot? Ian Smith.
He really does.
I'm just throwing that out there.
No, if Peter were here right now, he would agree with you.
Yeah. No, he honestly does. We get a lot of shit, but
if you leave him unguarded, if you give him an uncontested shot, he can pick a spot.
Definitely.
And again, I'm not trying to Kyle anybody out on your team, but with the positioning, it's possible that he might be left open.
We definitely did not have our best defensive game the last 2 games now. So yes, our rotation, as Kurt loves to make fun of me for dwelling on rotating, could use a little bit of improvement. In terms of Pitar picks Wu-Tang and
no love there.
Conco, I couldn't remember his name there. Verbatim is Woo, 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 Kenny Woo. Roots can't stop Joe. Woo's defense frustrates Pitar and makes Austin finish his homework before he can score.
Does Austin need a permission slip to play this game?
I'm not quite sure. We don't have John
He doesn't need his vaccinations.
Yeah, we don't have John Chattergoon's picks yet.
He usually waits till after the
he
game.
picks them after the game usually.
Well, why is he
losing?
7 for 16? But right now, it's a clean sweep from the regulars on Wu-Tang with both of our guests picking the Roots.
Peter always picks against the Roots, though.
Yeah,
and then they usually win.
On a side note, I always harp on Peter's running to get him to run more, and it seems to work. I mean, that doesn't always equate to wins, but it gets him running.
Yeah, burns calories.
That's right.
8:30.
8:30, we have NWA in white versus the tribe called Quest. This is my game of the week.
All right, well, why don't you start us out then, Jerry Bear?
All right, so as you know, NWA will be wearing white, so they have my pick to win this game.
The Oasis much?
So it might be the bitterness, and I think I mentioned on this last week that I don't ever pick a team that beat us to win the next week. So that's not really part of it. I feel as though NWA, they're surging right now. You know, you're starting to get that production from the mics. They're complementing each other. I don't know that they're necessarily the tandem that they want to be yet, but they're having big games from the two of them. You know, the rest of the guys on that team are stepping up. They're putting up numbers too. the Roots, playing against them, they're a great team, and they're sneaky good. Everybody on the Roots contributes.
Tribe Called Quest.
Oh yeah, Tribe Called Quest. I'm sorry, fuck the Roots.
The Roots too, though.
Yeah, no, fuck the Roots. Tribe Called Quest. They're a sneaky good team. Like I said, after my game, I was saying this before we even started recording, as I went and I looked at the stat sheets, and I was actually shocked because I thought that, I knew that they got numbers somewhere, but I didn't expect Jeff and Mike to have the numbers that they had. I thought it was more balanced than it was. But that just is a tribute to the team, the way that they play as a team, and they're scoring, but you're not exactly sure where it's coming from. With that being said, I feel like they looked a little bit disheveled in the first period against us. Like I said, there's that big momentum swing in the second, and our team is lazy, so we can't play 3 full periods. But I feel like it definitely wasn't the game that they were expecting coming into it against our team, and I feel like NWA they're a very run and gun team, and I feel like that's going to kind of spin the tribe around, kind of like that when Wu and the tribe played and Wu out-tribed the tribe. I feel like that's kind of what NWA does in this game
You're
too.
gonna have tribe also.
Yeah.
Which Furious 5 out-wooed the Woo, so just by like the transitive property, does that mean that Furious 5 out-tribe woos the...
No. Tribe out. Furious.
It's a Mexican.
Sorry, that was Kenton math. I'm sorry.
It's a Mexican standoff. Of
Carry the 2.
All right, Ramsey, who do you think on this game?
I agree with Jeremy. I think this is the best game of the week. I think 2 of the best goalies. I think Mike Furlano is the best defensive forward in the league. If you'd be the Selke Award winner, I think he's just a pit bull. He's strong. He's a guy that I think is one of the most physical guys in the league as well. I don't think he has the reputation of a goon, but he plays very, very hard and very, very physical. I think makes him very, very hard to play tough against. The Mikes, I thought they played well against us last week, but I think Burge and Furlano make a Tribe Called Quest win. And one thing, when Burge plays us, he got a little pissed off at Zach Davis. I know you guys mentioned
that was
it.
awesome.
And it got me a little pissed off, but I noticed he took his game to another level. I mean, he really played hard. It's impressive for that team that if he has another level, and Brett in goal, Strachan, girls with Pat, and Kurt, bowling ball, whatever you want to call him.
Bowling
You got downgraded.
He does have 3
I do
holes.
have 3 holes. I'm just saying, man.
We won't talk
Let's
about
not let that one stick, please.
We're not going to talk about those holes ever getting filled or not. But I just like a Tribe Called Quest. I think they're the best team in the league, and I think they win.
Kenton?
I was going back and forth on this. Honestly, when I was looking at the games, I spent the most time on this one.
Which one did you spend the least time on?
Oh, my game, definitely. I mean, I came into it knowing that we'd win, obviously. So it's just a matter of looking at the stats
He's the opposite.
and proving that Jeremy would be wrong. I gotta go with the Tribe Called Quest. I think this is a great back and forth game. Mike and Mike are great in the morning or at night. But I think Mike and Jeff are the better tandem, and that Brett also outshines Conco. Out-Conco's Conco, and I just think their overall play, with their defensive presence, they just they take away the teaming up that the NWA likes to get, and breaks up the tandem of Mike and Mike, and so they play more one-on-one, and when they've had to do that this season, they haven't been as productive.
I'm going to disagree slightly. And Kurt, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. Since you're going, you get to go last. I think Mike and Mike, Sturgis and Bryant kind of cancel out Jeff and Mike for a while. I think that the 4 of them are amazing, and the 4 of them are all really close in terms of just their talent. I mean, actually, I didn't look this up ahead of time, but I think they went 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th picks. If I'm thinking about that right, I might be wrong.
Sounds good.
If
I like
not,
those numbers.
Yeah, let's go
either
with
way,
that.
it might have been 6th and 11th instead of 7th and 10th. But they're all close in picks. They're all close in talent. I think they cancel out. I think Brett and Conco may cancel out. Brett. These are probably the 2 best goalies in the league right now. Brett's having just a career year. best goalie in the league right now this season. Conco's not having a great season. I think he's 5th in most of the categories, but he's still, like the Kobe right now of our league. Like, okay, he's having a bad season, but he's still one of the greatest ever. So I think that'll cancel out. Only 1 point separates these teams, and I think it comes down to Newberry, Habitsruther, and Foss versus Strachan, Pat, and Kirk.
Great job on Habitsruther, by the way.
Oh, I love Habitsruther.
I'm just saying, pronouncing the name correct.
Oh yeah, Habitsruther.
Those are those caramel candies, aren't they?
Habitsruther,
Oh,
yes.
So Habit Werthers.
Yeah.
I love those things in my mouth.
Well, never mind, not anymore. So, and I think that the Newberry Habitsruther Foss combination is known for their defense. They're very, very strong in defense. And I think that Strachan, Pat, and Kirk, they're known a little bit for their defense, but also a little bit for their scoring and passing. And I think that this game, the scoring and defense combination is greater than just the pure defense you got in Newberry, Habitsruther, and Foss. I think that's the difference. I think it's a Tribe Called Quest. I think they win. And I think that NWA gets outshot because they've been outshot in the season. They've allowed the second most shots against in the season, and a Tribe Called Quest, they've allowed the second most differential in shooting on the season, getting outshot. And a Tribe Called Quest has the second best differential on outshooting opponents. And I think that's what the difference is.
I did the same kind of equations that you did. It really does come down to the teams. This is my game of the week. Like I said, I really almost had Public Enemy and Furious 5, but this one just seemed much more evenly matched to me. And I did those equations in my head, and I came up with the same thing in the end. I think.
You better than me?
Huh?
You think you're better than me?
No, I don't. I think that I'm +1 on you. See, I'm trying to be diplomatic again. No, I'm saying what you were saying, I'm shaking my head
Screw
as you were saying like that. That was awesome because the thing that the one thing I was thinking was that Mike Bryant and Mike Sturgis don't tend to be as mobile as I think like Furlano and Burge are. They tend to get a position, set their position, and play that. Whereas I think Jeff and Mike move around a lot more. So to me, there's this mobility factor versus positioning factor, and I'm interested to see how this plays out. I think Tribe's going to be able to pull this off. I think Brett is going to have a couple more saves that we won't even acknowledge as great.
Might have to talk.
Yep, and I also think I'm probably going to take Conco to a Chipotle and get him a little food poisoning before the game.
Oh,
He's susceptible. He's highly susceptible to that. So I'm going with the Tribe on this
There
one.
were coupons that they mailed out for Chipotle.
All right, and so for the record, Pitar picked a Tribe Called Quest and verbatim from Conco. NWA because my team just beat Zach, and Foss is going to unleash a terrifying scream that will cause Jeff and Mike to cower in fear. John Strackmos is unaffected, but isn't able to carry the team. Brett makes me look even worse than normal.
I got the picks in from Chattergun as well.
Oh, did you? Okay, great.
Yeah, he
Brett was off.
picked for game 1 he's going Public Enemy. Game 2 he's going Wu-Tang.
All right, so that's a clean sweep from the regulars on Wu-Tang. So we're 2 for 4 on those right now.
Game 3 he's going NWA. And we'll wait for a game.
Well, go ahead.
Well, game 4 he's going Sugar Hill Gang, and it's the only explanation that he gave on any of the games, and it's because Gianni told me not to give up on you guys.
There you go. And so that's the first reason for Sugar Hill Gang in the 9:30 game. Jeremy, you're playing in the game, so Ramsey, you're playing in the game. So Kenton, why don't we go to you for your first thoughts?
Quick take on that. Gianni, he's being held to 4.8 goals a game, the lowest in 2 years since he played on the Germans. But the Germans that year finished tied for first. They were 7-3.
Who else was on this Germany team?
I don't remember. I don't think anyone at this table
Hitler? I mean,
no, it might have been.
Maybe some guy that leads the league in points ever.
Might have been Pulver.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. I think Johnny he's frustrated. The team, Kevin wants to play his style, and Gianni wants to play his. And not to say that they they aren't meshing, but a lot of times it's very disparate, and there's not a whole lot of cohesiveness in your team. But if you guys get going, Gianni can score 10 goals easy, like he did against me. I mean, I'll show any goal that was done.
There's like a recurring theme here, and the self-deprecation is strong in this one.
I'm humble, but I'm good at it.
Is that Yoda over there?
Yeah,
Self-deprecation
that
is strong.
good,
Or is that Obi-Wan?
No, that was well, I guess it was Obi-Wan.
We got nerdy in here. So you're picking run then?
Yeah. I mean,
They just shit talked us for 20 minutes. Like, how do you
No,
not?
I think Run DMC has gone to the limit with how much effort they can give and how well they can play and still losing. I think Sugar Hill Gang is right up there too. I think it's a great game. I'm thinking it's a shootout, just like the groups against whoever we're playing.
Fruits.
Wu-Tang, the Bobby
Good.
and I think it's a great game, great back and forth game. But I'm picking Run DMC.
Run's house. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of. It's a hard game to pick because it's hard with both of these teams because you're still not completely sure what the missing links are. You're still not completely sure how Sugar Hill's lost 6 or how Run DMC's lost 5. And I'm not saying that to be cheeky. Like, I really mean that. I really can't figure out for either team. And this might be the best matchup I've ever seen against a 1-5 team against an 0-6 team. Like it's amazing to me. But I'm gonna go Run DMC, and I'm gonna go Run DMC because, and first of all, I think it's gonna be super high scoring. I think you guys break the record again. I'm sorry in advance, Ramsey. I think you're gonna be seeing a ton of high quality shots, a lot of really really high quality shots, and I think that the same's gonna go for Steve. But because Sugar Hill Gang is allowing the most shots on goal, they've allowed more shots on goal than any other team. And
This season or ever? Because I've been on some teams that are up there.
Yeah, I think I was on those teams with you. I don't know what ever, but for this season it's the most. And not a lot of them have been assisted because of just good quality looks off the onset. And Steve's had a little bit of trouble adjusting so far, although he got better last week, and I think he's going to continue to improve. Sugar Hill Gang's allowed the most goals against, but Run DMC's allowed the third most goals against, with, by the way, the Roots second. Run DMC has the second best assist to goal ratio, with half of their goals coming assisted. So you add the most shots on goal allowed by Sugar Hill Gang, plus the second most assist per goal ratio for Run DMC, and I think Run DMC outshoots Sugar Hill Gang and has higher quality shots, and a lot more of them are assisted. And I think that we get just a really, really high scoring game, and I think Run DMC takes it.
Bob, I hate following you with picks because I feel like you're like the
on my left.
You're like the doctor that delivers the baby, and I'm like a midwife who just kind of comes in and rubs the belly, and that's where I get my feeling from. Because once again, you've statted the hell out of your pick.
That's where you.
Let
that go. Okay.
It works in my head. I don't know.
Well, thank you, midwife.
I'm looking at the game, and I'm not gonna say this was a no-brainer, but I'm going with Run DMC.
Every time someone's had a no-brainer, it hasn't worked out for us.
Really?
Except when
I don't have stats.
I think, and we gotta look at the stats. I think the no-brainers have worked out, and I think a lot of us stopped saying no-brainers, which is why I had to caveat this isn't a no-brainer. Here's my reasoning for Run DMC. I think a lot of it stems from the fact that my team, a tribe called Quest, played Sugar Hill last week. I saw you guys burn real bright in the first period, as you have in every game. And I just don't see you being able to sustain it against the attack that I know that Zach's going to put up against you. I'm going to predict a big week for JJ and Chris. I feel like they're due. I feel like they're starting to mesh. We saw some from Chris this past week. I think we're going to start seeing them score. I don't know why. I have this feeling. I was watching JJ play this past week, and I just feel like he's due. Zach's a great guy at feeding the other guys in his team the puck, and I just don't, like you say. I think the key was I think it was you, was it you, Ken, who mentioned that Gianni and Kevin just aren't meshing the way they have two different styles. I mean, Kevin and Gianni haven't been feeding each other quite the way I think we thought was going to work out. So I got to go with Run DMC on this one.
All right, so the two guys playing in the game, Jared Bear and Ramrod. Who's going first?
I'll go first. I mean, we're talking to these guys. We talk a lot, my team, and we're basically we're in the. There's a quote from a movie that I'm gonna quote here. And this is how our take to the rest of the league is: keep them in the dark and feed them shit. So like a mushroom. So as far as our game plan for the week, Steve's been doing a lot of hot yoga to get better at getting down and covering the puck. And we actually have a practice coming up on Saturday where we're going to start working on some of the trick plays that we've been talking about.
Wait, hold on. Are you serious, or are you actually
Yeah.
Saturday practice?
No. Yeah, we have a Saturday
Where
practice.
is this Saturday practice?
It's an undisclosed
Are you
location.
Belichick.
It's an undisclosed location. It may rhyme with car by sea. But we're going to have a practice where we're going to, like I said, work on some of the trick plays that we've been talking about. So you may be seeing like
Statue of Liberty?
the annexation of Puerto Rico.
It's my favorite.
Or maybe even a flying V. Like I said, Steve's really been taken to the hot yoga. So, you're going to see some more maneuverability about him and covering the pucks a little bit better. Gianni and Kevin Baldwin, to kind of mesh a little bit more, they've been taking birthing classes together. Just because there's no stronger bond than having a child together. So they've been working on that to kind of...
So anything real?
Sugar Hill Gang is wearing a white t-shirts white shirts this game, so you know that I picked them. With that,
Is Gianni skins or?
no. So we're wearing whites, and again, I'm gonna pick my team every week. Like I said, the game plan is always gonna be go out there and score one or two more than the other team, and that's what we're gonna try to do.
John, what do you think about the hot yoga, the Saturday practices, and the annexation of Puerto Rico?
Birthing classes.
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer.
I think it's a little stretch, and they're gonna have to show me the baby because I think we are gonna win. I think we're gonna work our asses off, and good things are gonna happen. That's the one thing we're stressing. We're not gonna confuse process with results. To quote the old Doug Marone.
How'd that work for him?
It worked awful for him.
Istanbulian?
Yeah, I don't know why Dougie said it, but no, seriously though, we're gonna work our asses off. That's the one thing we've talked about is that we don't want to get outworked by any team. We're struggling, we're frustrated, we're pissed off. I think anyone can understand that, and we're just gonna play our best. Like last week, someone outplays us. Conco makes a shit ton of saves in the third. God bless the kid, he played great, and we're okay with that. We can tip our hats to people. But if we get outworked, that's when we're going to get pissed off, and we're not going to get outworked again this season. So we're going to go out and we're going to win.
And probably not outworked by Sugar Hill Gang, at least in the second. I mean, not to love
That's fair,
but you'll probably get outworked in the first period.
That's when we practice on Saturday, we're only gonna play second periods.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing because we've lost every third period. I mean, we literally have lost every third period, so that's our problem.
So it should be an interesting matchup of styles then, because Sugar Hill Gang usually wins third periods and loses the second. So it'll come down to the wire either way.
Listen, we're gonna drink the hard work Kool-Aid. So
there you go. Let's see how it tastes. All right. Well, you know what? We have a couple of minutes here. We're still, I think I'm just resigned to the fact that these podcasts are always going to run about an hour. Any rebuttals? Ramsey. I know we've been a little hard on Run DMC lately. You're our guest here for the podcast, so you've heard us kind of maybe not shit on your team per se, but at least spark in your general direction.
I would shit on your team.
So what rebuttals have you heard from your teammates? What rebuttals do you have for us?
we're 1-5. There's no rebuttals necessary. You are what your record says you are. We can complain about the bad bounces. We can complain about calls not going our way. We can complain about not having players there. But the fact of the matter is that we're 1-5, and we've got to work harder. We've got to score more goals, and we've got to stop more. And I'm not gonna make any excuses. We just have to play better one game.
That makes me want to go out and play better for Run DMC.
You're gonna run through a brick wall after that kind of stuff.
You'll have a chance to do it this coming week.
Again, I didn't do the math, but I think both of you guys are still in the playoff. So
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been playing for position this whole time. So.
Yeah, you just gotta get on the bus, like Herm Edwards said. It doesn't matter. I feel like we can beat any team in this league, and I think every one of our players feels the exact same way. So we're not giving up. We will never give up, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna kick some ass. That's it.
So what what you're getting at there though is true. With the playoffs looming only 4 weeks away, 3 weeks after week 7, the parity is just amazing. I mean, we're talking about Wu-Tang Clan being in first place and a tenuous 5-1 at best. And Ramsey, you gave us a stat earlier about how you guys, if you didn't have the third, would be 5-1 yourselves, and you're in 7th right now. So it's 10 points separates first from 8th, but only, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, 4 points separates first from 6th. There's still a lot to be decided in the next 4 weeks. Even with Wu-Tang Clan's, 5 wins, a lot of them have been by 1 or 2 goals, 2 of them in overtime. A Tribe Called Quest, there's some chinks in the armor we've seen there. I think it's been a great season so far.
By far the most talent since I've played.
Oh yeah,
By far.
I think no question, hands down, the best talent.
You just look at the goalie save percentages. I mean, we've had past seasons where you see 93, 94% regularly.
Yeah, Brett's got 86, and I think the next closest is at 84. So Brett's at 86, Tim's got at 84.2, Bill at 84 even, Alex at 82.8. Conco at 81.
We can stop there. We can stop
Okay.
yeah,
there.
and then the other 2 follow suit. So that's a great point, Kurt. All right, well, so any other thoughts on the preview? Anything else that we need to hit on the rebuttals before we get to the question?
I just want to say that you guys do a great job putting on the podcast. John and Jeremy do, and Pete, and, whoever's involved in the league do a great job in the league. And I just really, really enjoy playing the league, even if I yell at the refs sometimes. Everyone who volunteers on this league, I'm really, you have my thanks, because I love playing in this league, and I really hope it continues.
Yeah, we were joking the other day about how Conco was talking to somebody else that he's working with in California or something. He started telling him about the league and like the things he does, and he's like, "Oh wait, I should probably stop now because I'm gonna look really, really ridiculous. I love this league so much." But it's something special.
And you don't understand it until you play in it.
No, yeah, it's like cocaine.
Even when people are coming into the league and you kind of you have a buddy coming in and you're explaining other things that they do, they don't kind of get it it sounds bizarre and absurd to an outsider.
Yeah.
And then when you come and play in the league, you're like, holy shit, this is literally the best.
I was talking to Alex, and we were saying we don't want to say that it's floor hockey to people because it does it gives it a bad connotation almost.
Well, it's kind
Other people.
Even other leagues.
It's uncool.
Other leagues,
yeah.
I mean, people are like, oh, it's just floor hockey.
Other leagues that I've played in or even seen, you don't have the camaraderie that this league has. You show up for your game, you play your 45 minutes, you go home, you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You hate the other team that you're playing.
Who watches other games? Who knocks someone on their ass and then helps them back up?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Tim Anderson, that's him.
Well, maybe not. I'm sorry, I forgot. Pitar picked Run DMC for Game 4, and Conco picked Run DMC. I'm going to paraphrase just basically that Zach at his highest is better than Johnny at his highest. So,
I agree with that.
And I just want to say, I
That's
love
a
you
loose
guys.
paraphrase.
I love you guys.
All right, so on that note, on to the question. So this question comes compliments of our guest, John Ramsey. He wants to know what NHL players do players in this league remind you of? Is that right? Or do you want to,
any NHL player, athlete, just compare a current guy in this league to an NHLer or another athlete.
Or so if you can't think of an NHLer off the top of your head, any professional athlete, and if you don't watch sports, then just make something up that's famous. I'll start because I did think about this a little bit ahead of time. I'm gonna go Phil Kessel from Matt Louis. I think that he's got great hands, great awareness, an amazing shot, crisp passing. But, no offense to Matt, doesn't always look the part of someone that, he's not like super athletic. He's not going to like, Jesse Trado deke around you, run like Joe Gann up and down the floor. But he always makes smart, good plays and one of the most talented players in the league. So I'm going to go Phil Kessel for Galuli. I'll list another one while people are thinking. The easy one could be maybe Mike Bryant for Kobe Bryant. Likes to, first of all, they share the last name, Mike Bryant and Kobe Bryant. But second of all, they like to shoot a lot, and they don't always see the open man to pass. Yes, Shaq or Mike Sturgis.
I'm going to go with an obvious comparison here, and I'm going to do Paul Parody. But who I'm going to compare him to might be a little bit less obvious, and that's going to be Jaromir Jagr.
Jagr.
So Paul Parody and Jagr, they're both, Paul obviously is one of the older guys in the league, but he's still out there, he's still killing it, he's still crushing records, and Jagr, if you ever read an interview with Jagr, what he says, he's like, I'm not even close to being done, like, why do you guys keep asking me if I'm going to retire or how many more seasons? He's like, I'd like to play.
How many times am I going to keep driving from Ithaca?
Exactly, he just loves the game, and he just wants to play the game, and he wants to play the game at the best, and he still feels like he's at the best, and clearly with the points that Paul puts up, that's where he is.
Great point.
I've got two. I'm gonna go Zach Davis, guy on my team, but I'm not gonna go with a forward. I'm gonna go with Nick Lindstrom.
Right.
Just because he's I feel like he's great defensively. I mean, he's just playing goal for him. He's very, very good. But he loves to make that pass. I mean, you could even go like a Mesut Ozil if you want to pull in a Premier League guy. Whereas I sometimes
enjoy
wish.
what you just said. Did you sneeze?
It's being German.
Yeah, I almost wish Zach would shoot more because his shot is so good. But he is so good at making that pass to set up the goal. He's got great vision, but he likes to sit back and almost stay out of the fray. And then the other one, I was going to go with Gaffey. Gaffey reminds me of Steve Smith, the wide receiver. I mean, just a pit bull.
So, a kind of guy who you could break his arm during a play, but he's still going to hold on to the touchdown pass?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a pit bull out there. He's a guy.
He doesn't trash talk enough, though.
No,
that's the problem. And Steve Smith, one of the greatest things about Steve Smith is how much he trash talks. Yeah. But you're right on the field.
Gaffey is just, he's the kind of guy you want on your team, but when you have to go against him, it's just as irritating as all hell.
Oh, yeah, he's a pain to play against.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, a compliment. Yeah, it's a compliment.
Or a bad way. Yeah. But a good way. Steve Smith. I love that comparison. Steve Smith's one of my favorite fellows, but let's not talk about me. Kurt, what do you got?
That's funny. I don't have anything. I suck at sports.
Not even a Sarah Bareilles?
No, you know what I have? Actually, I've done a little special thing here.
Oh,
I've come up with the Mount Rushmore of the league for offense,
That's
defense,
funny. I actually
and
had that
hustle.
as a question I scratched.
Oh,
so what
shit,
is
you
that?
wanna say that?
No, I scratched it. So
Here's what I got.
Mount
This
Rushmore.
is our founding fathers here that are up in they're up in stone. For offense, I've got Air Canada, Zach, Gianni, and Enright. Picture their faces up
Air
there.
Canada, Zach, Gianni, and Enright.
These are the founding fathers, not the new presidents, not the ones.
I would have
I feel like Dan.
You might, but I'm the stone sculptor on this one.
Is this Paul with beard or without beard?
This is Paul when he first started in the
This
league,
is-
and everyone was like, "What
67
the
and 9.
What the heck just happened here?" Kind of thing. This is for the offensive, like the ones who have done the most to move forward the offensive.
No game.
Hey, so let's do this instead of arguing about the Mount Rushmore.
Just
Post in the comment section below on Facebook who your Mount Rushmore of YMCA hockey is.
Well, that's just my offense.
That's social media integration, right?
That's
there.
my
Great
offense.
job.
There you go.
I like the defense.
Make sure you
Boom.
like
My Mount Rushmore of defense.
Tweet at us and Instagram.
It's IGS.
Get our cloud score.
My Mount Rushmore of defense would be Tim Anderson.
Oh, you're doing multiple Mount Rushmores.
Yeah, John Chatterton, Dan Gladding, and Bob.
No Kevin Baldwin in that?
No, this is like the founding fathers one. Because there's so much new talent that I just wanted to. We've
So-
talked a lot about
I
history.
want to say
We've
that
gone
Bob has
back.
been playing on the floor as long
He
as
has
Kevin
no,
Ball.
but he
Yeah.
was a goalie, so I'm like technically I got the defense thing. I thought about that. I have a hustle. I have a hustle Rushmore. I'm trying to be quick on this guy.
Hustle Rushmore.
I have a hustle Rushmore.
Jeremy Baker.
This is probably my favorite one. Well, no, you're the guy. There's a
Poor
rumor that
Jeremy.
there's a cave inside Mount Rushmore. I think that's where Bonet is. No, but I've got Lally, Gaffey, Steve Newberry, and Jamie in that one. Anybody gonna argue with the legitimacy of that Mount Rushmore? I don't think so.
Yes. Without that.
All right.
In the
So anyway,
comments.
like I said, I just tried. You
No,
know.
I like that a lot. So for the Facebook comments, give a single Mount Rushmore, and Kurt, you can give your single Mount Rushmore, just one Mount Rushmore for your 4 people for the entire league.
We'll say
We had
score,
goaltender
defense, goalie, and hustle.
If
goalie
you
Rushmore.
want to split up that way, you
Oh,
can.
that's a beautiful idea. That might be a
You
good.
can split up that
yeah.
way if you want. I'm thinking maybe more like legislative and organizational things like that. But you know what? I want to know
You
who
go
these guys are.
small ball, 3 guards,
You can go exactly. You can go small.
4 guards. One for it, you never know.
All right, who
Small
hasn't
ball?
answered the NHL question yet?
I haven't. I'm going Bill Riley for
Lundqvist.
King Henry. Yeah, Lundqvist.
Oh, I called it.
I think they're both heralded early on in their careers. They had great rookie seasons. You know,
There you
they,
go. I
they-
like that.
It
That's
has,
a solid
they've been sort of
comparison.
up and down.
3
you know,
Coronas
maybe-
in and he's still making it.
Maybe by their standards. I can always throw Puppy Indian Monkey Ian, baby. But
No, please
No.
no. Please never again.
Don't even say that again. It's almost like Beetlejuice. I don't think you say if you said it a third time.
Yeah,
something bad's
it's
gonna happen.
appear and it's gonna
Some
be
weird
hideous.
combination of them.
Throwing up a little. You know, I think he goes. You know, they both gone back and forth in their career, but you know, even throughout 10 seasons on for Lundqvist and Riley a few years on, you know, he's still putting up great numbers, and even in seasons where it's down by his standards, it's still top half of the league, and he's still playing great in goal, and helping out his team.
Yeah, that is a great comparison. All right, well, thanks for listening to the Week 7 preview.
I was just shocked that there was no Jamie Habit or Brent Burns.
Thanks for listening to the Week 7 preview. Hey, John, Kenton, thanks for joining us
Yeah, nice job,
tonight.
guys.
You know, we're looking for some guests here and there. Rumor has it Zach Davis might be joining us next week. Maybe a Fern Gully or 2. Probably not 2. But
One's enough.
if you're interested in
Fern
guests-
Gully 2 was a shitty movie.
It really was. It really was. But if you're interested in guests appearing on this, let us know. We're always looking for outside opinions, and otherwise you can take your feedback, tie it to a rock, and throw it through PTAR's window. Is it Wednesday yet?
Mamba out.